Hello, my friend. I'm Dan Klatt. I'm the founder of Operation Greatness, and I'm also the author of the book Reignited America. And I am a licensed minister. I'm putting that out there right here because in this conversation, we're going to go deep into Jesus's challenge, his explicit challenge to you because you are God's gift to the world. In fact, you are God's instrument for miracles in the world. You're going to want to pay very close attention to this, which is our Operation Greatness chapter meeting for today. And I want you to take notes on everything that you are hearing. I want you to pause and reflect on each of the points you are considering, seeing how they relate to you, how they pertain to what's happening in your life, how much they inspire you to step up and be the inspired visionary leader. It is your destiny, it is your gift, it is your blessing, it is your duty to be, because you are God's gift to the world after all. So be it, living your life in service to everyone you can reach, like right here, for example, for you to lead, inspire, transform, and liberate, LITL, doing a little more today in being of greater service to more people. This is how you are transforming the lives of everyone connected with you. All of your friends on each of the social media platforms you use, you can lead them into this Operation Greatness chapter meeting, and you are then transforming their lives. So, right now, pause and reflect. Wow, me being God's gift to the world, and really examine that. How am I God's gift to the world? What am I here to do? How am I here to contribute? Dan says I'm here to be of service, and I have the power to transform the lives of every one of my online friends. How can I do that? Is that true? Do I believe that? Do I have the inner knowing from the presence of God, the spark of divinity, which is your direct connection or access to that which is the infinite and unlimited? The word I use for that, which is, of course, the infinite and unlimited, is beyond my mind's ability to comprehend. The word I use to describe that is God. And to think of, I'm just going to reach down. Where is this? It's near me here. Ah, right here. I, if you are watching this video instead of listening to this Operation Greatness chapter meeting, you'll see that I'm holding up a flute because this is you. This is the visual for you as God's instrument for miracles in the world. I mean, let's look at the flute a little, because the flute is what? A hollow shell, you might say, like a hollow reed, and yet it has an opening on one end and an opening on the other end, and then it has 6 holes on it where you put your fingers to determine where the presence of God is flowing through your life into the world. I mean, really see this because, oh, I'm getting chills here. You are God's gift to the world, and yet life is really simple. Life is not meant to be hard. It's straightforward, it's easy. By you hearing this message and just simply being God's instrument for miracles in the world as God's greatest gift, which you are God's greatest gift to the world. You're just the hollow flute, and you're just letting go and letting God. And then the presence of God is what? I mean, we use the word the Holy Spirit, right? And what is the Holy Spirit? Like the breath of God that is breathing life into this instrument that you are. And because it is through you, this is what I really want you to hear. It is through you that God is able to bless and transform the world. Through the hollow flute you are. I love the Japanese metaphor of the hollow flute. The word is shakuhachi, flute in Japanese. And I don't know, I think this might be a shakuhachi flute specifically. And what that means is you are the hollow flute. So God, the presence of God is what I like to call it, or you might think of it as the Holy Spirit of God, is working through you, blowing. That's a little weird, I guess, but if you think of the wind or the breath of God as going through your life, and that is the beautiful music that you are, that is the gift you are, which is uplifting, transforming, liberating the human family, everyone in the world. This is the power that you have just by moving out of ego, letting go, letting God. And that's the beautiful music that your life is creating. And it's not you doing anything, it's just you opening to the presence of God, blessing the world through you. So it's like you just sit back and God is playing you. It's not you striving or working hard. I mean, yes, there's actions, and yet it's just you letting go and trusting that God has a higher purpose for you, and you recognizing that purpose or that spirit, that flow, that presence moving you because you're connected with that which is, and you're not fighting it, you're allowing it, you're opening fully to that presence being in your life. And that is the work you are doing, and God is doing the rest. I mean, that reminds me of, I get a visual of like the footprints in the sand or the snow. And because like Jesus is walking with you in your life or in your journey on your path, and then you look down at your life and you think, like, what about that area where there was only one set of footprints? Is that when you left me? And no, and then Jesus says, no, that's when I was carrying you. I mean, your life is meant to be carried, so to speak, by God every moment of every day, of every month, of every year. You're not walking alone. You never were, not even for a fraction of a second have you ever been alone, because you are God's instrument for miracles in the world. I mean, really hear this. You are God's gift. So be it. And your focus is only, I mean, I've been saying this for a while now, at least since, I don't know, maybe what is today? It's 2025. So it's probably since 2023, maybe. I just knew this, or this message came through very clearly, that if you picture a a vertical line going from 0 at the bottom to 100 at the top, and that line represents the percentage you are open to receiving God, because you have to receive God before you can extend God in the world. Pretty obvious, right? You have to breathe in God in this case before you can breathe out love in this case to the world, or the blessings of God, because you're just the hollow flute. Or not just, you're allowing God to work through you to bless the world. You are God's gift to the world, so be it. Be that gift you are, not holding back in any way. So in this conversation, I want to use a few examples. We'll talk about a few people's lives that you know, or you know of them, and you know their deeds. By their deeds you shall know them, right? So by your deeds, people will know you, and you can kind of smile and say, yes, I know it looks like it was me that did all of this, and yet I wasn't doing anything. It was God moving through me, and I just let go and let God. I just opened fully to, because I heard the message that I am God's gift to the world. You're reflecting on this now and thinking to yourself, I really am God's gift to the world. And it's not in an ego sense at all, because you're just the hollow flute, the shakuhachi. You're the vessel the Holy Spirit is using, or the presence of God is using, to share the blessings of the infinite, unlimited in the world. And what is the world? You could say the world is the embodiment of limitation, and yet that's because people were in their head, and like that vertical line, that percentage scale between 0 at the bottom and 100 at the top, that reflects you and your journey and the gift you are as God's gift to the world, as God's instrument for blessing everyone on the planet, in the world, through the gift you are. That represents 100% open to God. And you can also look at that as coming from love 100%. And that means also 100% knowledge, because at the other end of that spectrum, so at the top, 100%, that's 100% open to God, and 100% coming from love, and also 100% in knowledge, wisdom, truth, versus at the bottom, 0%. That means 0% open to God, and 100% coming from ego. And let's look at that word ego, because it's very interesting to see what that really is. Like, if you're one of my almost 184,000 followers on Twitter, I like to say God morning in the first post I make, because when I say, if you say good morning to me and I'll say God morning back to you, that's because good means God. That's pretty obvious, right? It's just we're taking God and we're putting it into everyday use and making it a little less seemingly religious. It's still spiritual, and yet some people have problems with religious anything. They reject religion because of, well, honestly, it's because religion today, this is worth really all of us talking about as our human family, because this is so huge and important. Is religion today in the mainstream, in the norm? Is it centered in God still, or was it corrupted by ego? I'm going to ask you to really look at that yourself. Was it about getting money instead of honoring and living the truth of God? I'm just putting that question out there, and I'm going to ask you to go deep and ask that question yourself and raise that as an issue, because all of us now are transforming our lives. We're living our best lives. We're no longer limiting ourselves in any way. We are becoming unlimited, and that's required of us, because that is how we are opening fully to God, to receiving God, and to extending God in the world. So the opposite of God is ego, not God, because God is, that's the simple truth of the universe, is two words: God is. And you know the word omnipresence, which God is, of course. And what does that mean? Present everywhere. There is nowhere God is not. The idea of not is the idea of a fool. From ego, from not God, someone coming from not God, only that person would ever think it's possible for there to be anywhere God is not. Because the simple truth of the universe is God is. Period. That's the absolute truth of life, of the cosmos, of manifestation, the simple fact that God is. There's nothing that comes after that, because there is nowhere God is not, especially and including within you. You are God's gift to the world, so be it. This is what your whole life is about. This is why you are here, to be that hollow flute for God to make beautiful music through your life. It's that simple. Your purpose is opening fully to God, 100% open to God, coming from ego, 0%, and coming from love, 100%. And that's also knowledge, wisdom, truth, 100%, versus not God, 0% open to God, is 100% coming from ego. And what is ego? Ego is not God. Because go is God. Like I say, go, 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 go. That's like saying, God, 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 celebrating God. And I'm cheering you on. I'm leading you on. I'm honoring, I'm experiencing you as the embodiment of God in the world. And this is who you are. You're God's gift to the world. You're God's instrument for miracles in the world. That's what your work is, to be open 100% to that which is, God is, and to coming 0% from ego and 100% from God, from love, from knowledge, wisdom, truth. This is your journey. This is your work. This is why you are here. Your work is to open fully to that which is, not holding back, not limiting yourself in any way ever again, because that would be coming from ego, not God. So up here, 100% open to and receiving and extending God is your destiny. It is your work. It is your journey. It is your purpose. So be it. You're God's gift to the world. So open fully now and evermore. Remain there, coming from love, coming from wisdom, coming from truth, coming from knowledge, being the presence of God in the world. You're God's gift to the world, after all. Is there any question about any of this? You know this is true. This is absolute. This is the absolute. And you're no longer resisting or fighting or blocking God, right? because God is, and this is the flow of life that you are part of that. Because think about this logically. Like, how else is God blessing the world other than through your life? I mean, other than the way you are blessing the world, like, for example, the way that I see is the most important way you are able to be God's instrument for miracles is by leading your own Operation Greatness chapter. This is through operationgreatness.com/leader, where I'm giving you the posts that you can make as you are opening to receiving God and allowing God through you, through the instrument you are, to lead, inspire, transform, and liberate, LITL, doing a little more today and being of greater service. You're able to liberate every one of your online friends just by sharing with them. Well, for example, this Operation Greatness Chapter meeting, for all of us Operation Greatness Chapter leaders to open up and lead, inspire, transform, and liberate every one of their online friends by walking them home, by walking them through opening fully to being God's instrument for miracles. They are God's gift to the world just as you are. You're the one recognizing them as the gift they are, as the hollow flute they are, as you are. And so for them to then open up fully to God working through them to bless the world, that is how you are blessing their lives. And they're opening to, they're not holding back and blocking the flow of God anymore because they are here to make a difference to others. I mean, what is, okay, like 100% open to God? What does that mean? That means 100% receiving the love you are, not coming from ego or not God at 0% God and 100% ego. That means opening up 100% to the presence of God moving in your life and coming through your life into the world, right? And what does that mean? It means 100% coming from love, 0% coming from scarcity, fear, lack, consciousness, because all of that is like a block, like a dam, blocking the flow of life, the currency of life. And how many people deny money because they think of money as bad? No, money is the presence of God, the Holy Spirit, the currency of life. Everything is energy. You are energy. The whole universe is energy, right? And a currency is meant to flow, like, for example, from God through you into the world. Because I don't know if you've ever seen like a hand reach down from the sky and offer gold coins or bags of gold. No, it happens through you. God reaches down, you could say, or reaches from within you out into the world. Like, these are God's hands touching you right here, or these are God's words transforming you right here. And this is just the hollow flute, that vessel that's open to the presence of God moving through to reach you. And this is what you are as well. Notice there's no ego here because ego is not God. So if you're coming from fear, if you're worried about, oh, what will people think of me? They'll think I'm some kind of a holy nutcase, religious freak or something. No, all of that is not God. That's not God. That's, I mean, very clear, right? So if you're coming from ego, you're coming from not God. You're blocking the currency of life. I mean, when you dam a river, you create tremendous pressure on the other side of that dam. And if somebody's coming from 100% ego and they're blocking the flow of God, the currency of life, what are they doing? They're causing tremendous pressure because that current needs to flow. This is the flow of life, of the blessings coming from God into your life and you being of greater service to more people. That's how you are here to be because you are God's gift to the world. So be it. Don't block that flow of God because the infinite, unlimited is seeking full expression in your life and through your life in the world. The blessings are coming into your life because you're destined to have all the happiness, joy, fulfillment, peace of mind, prosperity, success, wealth, impact, meaning, contribution as you desire, because that's a reflection, that's a result of all of the good you are doing in the world. Let me say that again. The more of an impact you are having, the more wealthy you are, the more meaningful your life is, the happier you are, the more fulfilled you feel. That's all a result of you opening 100% to God working through you to lead, inspire, transform, and liberate the world. That's your happiness, joy, fulfillment, well being, peace of mind, success, prosperity, meaning, impact, contribution. All of that is a result of you letting go and letting God move through you to bless the world. This is your work is opening 100% to God working through you to transform the world because your purpose is extending God 100%, and that means coming from love, extending love in the world. And what does that mean? It means being of greater service to more people. This is your purpose. This is your divine design, duty, destiny, dharma. And for me, the way that you are being of greatest service to everyone you can is by leading your own Operation Greatness chapter. That's through operationgreatness.com/leader. And because then you're actively walking everyone home. You're actively walking them from wherever they are in that percentage. Like, well, let's think about this. Where are you on that percentage between 0 and 100% open to God, receiving God first and then extending God from there? Where are you on that spectrum or that percentage right now? Okay, let's talk about this because this is really important and it fits right in here. My inner knowing, and I want you to see this yourself, check this out. How do you feel about this? My inner knowing is that this relates to your potential to do good in the world, and that relates to how much of your brain you are using. This is all logical and makes perfect sense, right? And that's part of 100% knowledge. When you're open fully to God, you're in 100% knowledge, truth, and wisdom. So check this out yourself with how this feels to you. Is this true? Is this something that you know to be true yourself? Okay. So, like they used to say, this was called conventional wisdom, I guess, that the average person uses only like 2 to 5% of his or her brain, whereas Einstein is said to have used like 7 or 8% of his brain. And so, with Einstein using 7 to 8% of his brain, and let's say that's just like 50% more than the average person, like 2 to 5%. You're with me so far in this, right? Well, this is also Einstein fulfilling like 7 to 8% of his potential. And that means he did not use like 92 or 93% of his potential. So even Einstein, and look at all that he achieved with his life, or that God achieved through his life, through his level of being open to God. So, I mean, that's a really important way to see this. And it's imperative that you recognize this, because this is how you are moving past even that 7 to 8% that Einstein fulfilled of his potential. I mean, are you really seeing this here? This is you opening fully to the presence of God, 100% open to that, in fact, to being God's gift. You are God's gift to the world. You are God's instrument for miracles in the world. So, Einstein, if he was one of the greatest thinkers or minds the world has ever known, or one of the most accomplished people the world has ever known. I mean, you could say that, well, let's look at this realistically here. So Einstein, even him, as great as he was in terms of what God achieved by working through him, and he was a mystic, by the way, if you did not know that. He was bad at math. He admitted that he was poor with math. He relied on other people, I think, to make the what do you call them, the formulas that he made. Like if you have a chalkboard and you have 78 different pieces of that, like E equals MC squared is the simplification of that. But he was a mystic. He didn't, it's like he intuited this, I mean, I love this visual. I'm getting chills just reflecting on this. Like he thought of himself as being an electron. I'm not sure if I'm telling this exactly accurately, but you can get the sense of the message here, the theme of this, what he did. He intuited, like he pictured himself being an electron traveling at the speed of light, and then he pictured if there was another electron chasing him, and if that were also going the speed of light. But I mean, he like saw these things in his mind as a mystic. He was opening to God, right? He was coming from knowledge, truth, wisdom. And I'm not going to say that he reached 100%, because I see that he was at like 7 or 8%, and look at what he achieved. In other words, like by you, okay, so where are you on that spectrum now? That's what I started to say like before. Like if the average person is only using 2 to 5% of his or her brain, and Einstein just used a little more than that, like 7 or 8%, look at all that he achieved, all that he accomplished. And you could use he, it was really God working through him. That's based on the level that he was open to receiving God and coming from 100% knowledge, truth, and wisdom and love and being of greater service to more people. And look at what he achieved, like at 7 to 8% of his potential. Look at all that he achieved. He moved mountains and transformed the world. And if the average person is only like 2 to 5%, and that means they're coming from 98% ego, not God, or 95% at the most by the average person. I mean, that's when you think about it that way, and it's really profound, then you can see why 98% of the time things do not go their way, or they're unhappy, or they're unfulfilled, because there is so much more to, because they're blocking God like at 98% or 95%, blocking God, coming from ego, coming from not God. I mean, how is this connecting for you? Like, where are you now? How much before now, were you blocking God? And now, how much more open are you to God, the currency of life moving through you and not blocking that flow? I mean, like, I love the visual that came to me one time of, I think I was on one of my daily hikes, which is where I'm communing with God directly 100%. Well, I don't know about 100%. Let's just say I'm open more fully to God when I'm connecting with the earth, with nature, with life, with that currency of life, more opening to it. I mean, be real honest with yourself. Where were you before now on that percentage? But one time when I was walking, I just saw this visual of like a faucet, like your kitchen sink. And some people live their whole life disconnected from that currency or blocking it 100%, coming 100% from ego, not God. And they might only their whole life allow like 3 drips of water to come out of that faucet. And that means they're totally disconnected from God the rest of the time, 100% from ego, not God. And their lives are without meaning, without purpose, without fulfillment, without joy. They feel alone and isolated. And how many people, I mean, you probably know several that fit into that description. And yet, it's voluntary. This is our choice to open that faucet and let not just the drips, let the water flow abundantly, because that's how we're meant to live. And that's us opening fully to the presence of God working through us and coming into our lives and blessing our lives with tremendous joy, happiness, fulfillment, peace of mind, prosperity, success, meaning, impact, contribution. I mean, you can see how happy and how tuned in and how connected I am. You can just feel it, right? And especially if you're watching this video and seeing how light my face is when I'm passionate about this stuff. And when you're passionate about life, this is you living your purpose, living your divine design, duty, destiny, dharma, being God's gift for the world. You are God's gift. You are God's instrument for miracles in the world. So be it. So open fully. And this is your choice. Because even when the kitchen faucet is all the way open and you're flowing with life at that level, then something magical happens and you switch to a bigger channel because that channel is not open enough to flow God fully, and you become more like the Niagara Falls, and then even that becomes too tiny and compressing God, limiting the unlimited, and then you become the Pacific Ocean. I mean, like this is my one of my favorite quotes, in fact, is because God is infinite and unlimited, and the only limitation that you ever have had and ever will have in your life is the one you impose on yourself, because you are meant to be unlimited and infinite. And watch my podcast on that, which is called Becoming Unlimited, if you haven't seen that yet. Anyway, that's all through operationgreatness.com/leader. You'll get the video for that Operation Greatness chapter meeting at operationgreatness.com/leader. So the Pacific Ocean is the metaphor for God, the infinite and unlimited, which is seeking full expression through your life. And you can at any moment receive the infinite and unlimited in your life. And that's what your work is, to open 100% to God working through you to bless the world, because that's how God blesses the world. It only happens through you. So were you limiting the unlimited and blocking the blessings that God is needing you to say yes and to open to extending in the world? Your purpose is opening fully to God. No, excuse me, your work is opening fully to God. Your purpose is extending God fully, not blocking God in any way, because you're being the hollow flute, the shakuhachi. You're God's instrument for miracles. And for you to limit yourself in any way, that was limiting God's ability to bless the world. How could you ever think or imagine or even conceive that it was possible for you to limit the unlimited? That doesn't even make sense to me. How could I be so selfish, so arrogant to think that I could limit the unlimited? I want you to really answer that question, because this is your life here. And were you blocking God, damming the river, limiting the unlimited flow of life, the currency of life? I mean, it is true that you have like the Pacific Ocean and it's sitting right next to you, and you just have to reach down and grab as much water as you want. And these are the blessings meant to be yours. And through you receiving those blessings yourself, this is how those blessings are blessing the world. The infinite, the unlimited is right there, always, every moment. You're swimming in God, is another way to see this. And anything that you want, you're meant to just allow it to be yours, because this favorite quote that I mentioned, you get the visual of the Pacific Ocean, the infinite, unlimited wealth, happiness, prosperity, love, meant to be yours. And it's just a matter of you saying yes to it, opening fully 100% to God, to receiving God. This is your work. And so my favorite quote is, He came upon abundance, He took abundance, and still abundance remained. I love that quote. He came upon abundance, He took abundance, and still abundance remained. I mean, this is one way of looking at and experiencing and knowing what God is, infinite and unlimited. You are able to have everything you want and so much more, because that's saying yes to the infinite unlimited. You're meant to be of service in every way you want, because that's saying yes to the infinite unlimited. That's not blocking that currency, that flow of life, that flow of love, that flow of God, of which you are that hollow flute. You're God's instrument for miracles in the world. After all, you're God's gift to the world. That's not limiting that in any way, because you can go to the Pacific Ocean and you can fill a truck, like what do they call those? Like a gas fuel truck or whatever. You can fill that with, I don't know how many gallons they have. Let's say 15,000, 20,000 gallons of water. And you can fill an oil tanker full of water in the Pacific Ocean. And I don't know, let's say that has, I don't know, is that, let's say 2 million gallons of water you can take from the ocean. And I took abundance and still abundance remained. There's no limitation to the unlimited. You can, I mean, like let's look in terms of money, because money is what? Wealth, which is what? Energy, right? So the energy of God is infinite and unlimited, and you are just its caretaker on the planet. You're the valve that determines how much of the infinite you are willing to receive in your life. So let's look at this in terms of money, because we can relate to money as representing the amount of God we are willing to receive in our lives. I mean, that's really, really hear that message. the amount of money you have in your bank account or your net worth reflects the amount of God you had allowed in your life. You had said yes to receiving. Is that is that a reasonable conclusion for you to make? Because money is the representation we place on the value of our services, the value of our lives. We measure that by money. You agree with that? So, can we also make the conclusion that the wealthiest person alive today is the one who has said yes the most to God? I think that's a reasonable conclusion we can draw from that. Is that fair? So, like at one time, Bill Gates was considered the wealthiest person, I think, in the world, on the planet, and I think he had like $100 billion. And now I don't know exactly what it is today, but I think Elon Musk is still that person. And I think the last I saw, he had maybe $350 billion. And I think it was said that he wants to be the first trillionaire. And so he's motivated by that. And what does that mean? He's saying yes more fully than anyone else to the infinite, unlimited, I call that God, flowing God, receiving God and extending God into the world. And look at what he's doing. Like, I think of Elon Musk as a really good example of extending God into the world, or extending love, or what does that mean in a practical sense? It means being of greater service to more people, right? I mean, what Elon is doing with Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, is phenomenal. I mean, he's uncovering all of this fraud and waste and abuse of taxpayer money. And what is money but the currency of life, the flow of God? And I mean, all of this stuff was going into, hundreds of millions of dollars into waste, into, well, destroying humanity. I mean, like that USAID office that was funneling, wasting, fraudulently promoting trans, whatever, in Mongolia, I don't know where, but, all of these, it was just a complete betrayal of God ultimately, and of humanity, and of the family. It was, pro-communist, it was evil. It was evil. It was, I mean, that's just the simple, clear, base way to talk about it. It was evil. It was stealing your money, our money, and using it to promote evil, to destroy the family, to destroy humanity. Plain and simple. And Elon is doing such good work with the Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, in uncovering all of this. And he's identified, I think, like $2.5 to $3 trillion of waste. And I think he's just getting started in all that. But look at all the good he's doing. So he deserves all of that reward, because notice that's how life works. You receive God, and then from there, you extend God in the world. You say yes to the infinite, unlimited, expressing in your life and through your life. So the money comes in first. You breathe in, which is receiving God, before you breathe out, which is extending God into the world. This is all logical, and it makes perfect sense rationally, right? So I think of Elon Musk or President Trump, and Elon Musk working on behalf of President Trump. I mean, all of this is being of greater service to more people. What better two examples do we have on the planet than these two gentlemen, Elon Musk and President Trump, of someone, one person or two people making a profound impact in being of greater service. In this case, exposing all of the fraud, all of the evil, all of the waste, betrayal of public trust, and the promises that people have made, like our representatives in the House and in the Senate, in Congress, their complete betrayal of their promise, their oath of office to serve their constituents, to serve America. And all of them need to be held accountable for their betrayals of public service, of their promise to use the money to serve the taxpayers and not to betray the taxpayers and serve the special interests. And I mean, look at Bobby Kennedy Jr. as a phenomenal example of being of greater service as well by well, I mean, I hope this is happening where he's actually standing up to the fraud and the abuse and the evil of the pharmaceutical industry and of the food manufacturers that, fill the food with chemicals that are there only to weaken people, to cause harm, to cause tremendous suffering and sickness and illness and death. I mean, so we have three fighters, and those are just three examples. And Tulsi Gabbard is another great example of someone saying yes to receiving God and to being of greater service. And Pam Bondi, I mean, I love what she's doing with the Epstein files, and she's, putting this out there, and she's getting her iron case, rock solid case against these evil people who have done unthinkable things to so many children and people. I mean, like Bill Gates is to me the example of the opposite of this, of coming from 100% ego and 0% God and 0% love, and coming the opposite of 100% knowledge, truth, and wisdom, and coming from ignorance 100%. And there are those who talk about Satan, these satanic people doing satanic things. And that would obviously be 100% ego and 0% God, and doing evil things in the world because they worship something other than God. They come from 100% not God. And I mean, so those are the examples of, well, when we have examples of evil, like Bill Gates, to me, is the embodiment of that. I mean, the Epstein Island, I sure hope that he is prosecuted to the full extent of the law for all of the crimes that he has committed against humanity. To me, he's like the embodiment of evil, and yet George Soros is maybe, who's the evilest person on the planet? I don't know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know that person, because they need to be stopped when they're coming from 100% ego and not God, and they worship something other than God. Then, well, we must stop them at all costs. And I mean, in the law, we must obey the law and do things in the system of justice that we have, like Pam Bondi, for example. I hope that Bill Gates is a very high level prosecution there for the Epstein Island stuff that he did there. And yet, with all this gesture here, that represents not God from 100%, because anyway, I mean, I saw Rudolf Steiner. There's a video that I saw 2 or 3 days ago, I think, where he was talking about this whole thing and, that whole industry. And he was saying that he believes or feels or intuits or knows that that is preventing people's ability to connect with God, to open to the infinite, unlimited. There's so much. So let's go back to like where you are on that spectrum of 0 to 100. Because remember what we said, like the average person using 2 to 5% of his or her brain, that's like way down here at the bottom, mostly coming from ego. And you could say mostly living in scarcity, fear, lack consciousness. And that means what? Blocking the infinite from expressing fully in their lives, blocking God, saying no to God and saying yes to fear, which is only of not God, right? So where are you on that spectrum? I think if we were generous in our characterization of where humanity has been before 2020, March 2020, when the bioweapon was released on the population by the likes of Bill Gates and George Soros, evil by the globalists, by the communists, by the people who want to destroy humanity. They're the ones coming from 100% not God ego, and they're doing everything they can to disconnect humanity from God, and that means to get everyone blocking the infinite currency of wealth, currency of love, the flow of God's ability to work miracles in our lives. And all we have to do is say yes to God and say no, and not come from ego, not and say no to scarcity, fear, lack, consciousness, and we're saying yes to God because God is our nature. I want you to really hear that message. So I think we were, before this bioweapon was released on the world from the bioweapons lab in Wuhan, China, funded by the CIA, funded by the US taxpayer, by you and I, before all of that was released by these people like Bill Gates and George Soros and the globalists and the transhumanists. They want us to be completely disconnected from God and 100% coming from ego and not even aware of our ability to think, to be connected with the internet, and to be controlled 100% by people who are controlled 100% by not God. I mean, that's obviously the wrong direction. That's the opposite of 100% connection to God. Anyway, I mean, really think about all of these things and post about all these things. You see how important this message is for everyone on the planet to hear? So be that gift sharing this message to everyone on the planet. Lead your Operation Greatness chapter at operationgreatness.com/leader and lead every one of your online friends through hearing this message, through answering this call to open fully 100% to God. Say yes to God. Allow God to work through you to transform the world. That is your power. That is your purpose. That is your potential. When you know you have the ability to do something, included within that ability is the responsibility to do that thing. That's pretty obvious, right? You have the power right here to transform the world. You know that you have the power because we are all connected with each other online. Everyone, like, what is it? I mean, I don't know. I haven't checked in a while. I think maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I saw that Facebook had like 4.2 billion users, I think it was. And, it's probably a lot more now. And Twitter, whatever that is it more than a billion? I don't know. Is LinkedIn more than a billion? I think it's like 1.2 billion last I saw, and that was probably 2 or 3 years ago. And, TikTok probably has more than a billion. And YouTube for sure has probably, I don't know what that is, billions of people. And, in other words, you're connected with all of these people. So by you now leading all of your online friends through joining your Operation Greatness chapter at operationgreatness.com/leader, and you getting all of your friends to lead their own chapter and to lead all of their online friends through joining their Operation Greatness chapter and leading all of their online friends. I mean, just for example, by you leading all of your online friends, getting every one of them joining your chapter and leading their own Operation Greatness chapters through your link, by you getting 1,200 people to join your chapter and to lead their own, and them getting their 1,200 people to join their chapters and to lead their own, you have transformed the lives of 1,440,000 people. That's saying yes to God, right? That's being of greater service, receiving God yourself, because you're getting $98.50 per person per month for each person joining your chapter and leading their own. That's a tangible reward for you of $98.50 per person per month. And it only takes two people to make that free for you. I mean, really hear that message. This is all through operationgreatness.com/leader. And so just as a, for example, to show you how this works, you can get your how many friends do you have online? I mean, like I have 183,800 and something people on Twitter following me, and 5,100 or so on Facebook, and whatever the rest of them are on the other sites. You have at least 1,200 people, right? So getting them to join your chapter and to lead their own through operationgreatness.com/leader, your 1,200 getting their 1,200, you've transformed the lives of 1,440,000 people. And then those 1,440,000 people getting their 1,200, now this is the real measure of you saying yes to receiving God and to extending God 100%, because now you've transformed the lives of 1.72 billion people. Remember, it's all energy. There's no limit to how much good you can do in the world other than the limit you impose on yourself, which is the limit you are saying yes to allowing God to work through you to bless the world. And why would you ever limit the unlimited? How is that ever appropriate to do that in any degree? Obviously, it's not. And yet, if the average person is only using 2 to 5% of his or her brain, and I intuitively know, and see if this makes sense to you as well, that that also correlates to using 2 to 5% of his or her potential. And look at the potential that look at the impact that Einstein had with just using 7 to 8% of his brain, just a little more than average. And he moved mountains and transformed the world. So to me, it's like an obvious conclusion. If all of this is logical, which to me it is, and it makes logical sense, it's very reasonable as a hypothesis and as a deduced reasoning or a conclusion based on what we know to be true, hypotheses, that our potential reflects the percentage of the brain we are open to using, and we determine that. This is the other thing that a mystic would inform us. We determine how much of our brain we're using by the size and scope of the vision that we are entertaining, that we are holding, that we are focusing on and giving power to. That's how we use more of our brain, by having a clear, inspired vision. I mean, I talk about the power of one person with an inspired vision to transform the world. My friend, you are that person with the inspired vision of reaching 1.72 billion people just by getting your 1,200 people, getting their 1,200 people, getting theirs, and you have transformed the lives of 1.72 billion people. How many people in all of history have had anywhere near that level of impact as what you are having right here through this Operation Greatness chapter meeting, by you now leading, inspiring, transforming, and liberating every one of your online friends, all of whom you are blessed to be able to transform their lives, to contribute more meaningfully than anyone else ever has to them, by really allowing God to work through you, through your chapter, for example, where you're leading them into leading their own chapters. You're inspiring them. You're saying yes to the currency of life. You're not blocking that flow. You're 100% open to God. You're using so much more of your brain. You're achieving so much more of your potential, which is infinite and unlimited. You're saying yes, you're letting go and letting God. You're not coming from scarcity, fear, lack consciousness or thinking, or coming from ego, not God. You're coming from God, from love, from abundance, from prosperity, from knowledge, wisdom, truth. And you're saying it would be totally inappropriate for me to limit God in any way. Who do I think I am? Because any thoughts of limitation or scarcity or lack or fear is of ego, not God. And God is infinite and unlimited. Abundance, love, prosperity, happiness, joy, fulfillment, well being, peace of mind, success, impact, meaning, contribution. All of that is your tangible reward, result of saying yes to life, not holding back God, not limiting the unlimited. No, removing all scarcity, fear, lack, consciousness that was of ego and is not of God, and allowing the presence of God to move through you fully 100% coming from love, being of greater service, in this case, to every one of your online friends, all of whom you have the ability to transform. And you can get your 1,200 or your 10,000 or your 10 million people, or even if you only have 10 people on all of your social media combined, well, get all 10 of them, and then they are getting all of their people. Even if that's 10 people, then 10 times 10 is 100 people. You've transformed, and then those 100 people getting their 10 people, and that's 1,000. And then those 1,000 people getting their 10 people, and that's 10,000. And then 100,000, and then a million, and then 10 million, and then 100 million, and then a billion people. You see, it still works. It might take a little longer if you only have 10 people, and yet you might have 10 million people. Like if you're Elon Musk, for example, and I think he has like 219 or 220 million people last I saw, by Elon getting his 200 plus million. I mean, well, except for Twitter I mean, that's just people following Elon on Twitter, and yet he owns Twitter. So by Elon, for example, leading his own chapter of Operation Greatness at operationgreatness.com/leader. I mean, Twitter probably has, I don't know if it has more than a billion people. I haven't looked in maybe 2 or 3 years. I don't know. Maybe it was last year, but I don't know. Anyway, whatever Twitter has, Elon could get maybe probably a billion people himself doing this personally through his chapter. And even Elon, I think, I mean, this would obviously more than pay the 50, I think it was 55, whatever, the billions of dollars that he paid to buy Twitter. By him making that $98.50 per person per month from people joining his chapter and leading their own through his link, times even 1 million would be 50, wait, would that be 98 million dollars and 98,500,000 dollars per person per month. Anyway, I mean, this is unlimited potential. This is saying yes to, well, let me ask you this. Do you believe that leading your own Operation Greatness chapter and transforming the lives of every one of your online friends and everyone in your local area, would that be saying yes to allowing God to work through you and through you to transform the whole of humanity? Just as a, for instance, you getting your 1,200 people who are getting their 1,200, and then those 1,440,000 people getting their 1,200, and that would mean 1.72 billion people have opened fully to the presence of God in their lives, would that be of service to you? And would that be an important way you are being of greater service to more people? I'm not saying that's the best way. I believe it is the best way. I believe it is the way that you are having the greatest contribution. That is your destiny to have. Maybe you know of a better way than that to be of greater service, and then I would strongly encourage you to say yes to not limiting God and to allow God into your life where you're receiving God and then extending God, which means being of greater service to more people. I would say, I would honestly tell you to do the way that is most important for you. I don't know that leading your own chapter of Operation Greatness would be that way for you. I have the feeling that is the most important way for most people on the planet. And yet maybe you are that person that God is, or in whom God is speaking something more specific as your needed way to be of greater service, and honor that. Absolutely. Do what is right for you. I'm just saying I created this system with the Operation Greatness chapters where you are, and I'm giving you the post to make. So to me, this is like the hollow flute. You're just letting God work through you to lead, inspire, transform, and liberate, to bless the lives profoundly, doing a little more today and being of greater service. I think this is a way for every one of us to open to so much more. And yet, this is one way. Maybe you have a better way. Maybe you have your way, whatever that is for you. And certainly, I respect you and I celebrate you and I honor you in honoring what that is, because God is working through you as you are opening to being that blessing in the lives of everyone connected with you. So certainly I respect you and I celebrate you and I support you in being of service in the way that you feel is most important for you to be. So, like, for example, Elon Musk. I mean, I so celebrate and applaud and honor the way he is ending so much government fraud and waste and abuse and corruption and betrayal and reining in the deep state or the aspects of government that spun out of control, coming from 100% ego instead of and 0% God, and they're betraying humanity and they're evil and they're doing, let's just say, the work of not God instead of God. And yet where is Elon on that spectrum between 0 and 100% open to God versus 100% ego? I'm not going to speculate on that because that's for Elon to question himself on that, just as it is for you to question yourself on that. So, like I started to say earlier, I think that if we're generous before this whole, what I call fraud 1.0, was pushed on society, you could say it was the crime against humanity when the globalists attempted totalitarian control over all of us. I think before then, if we were generous, we were at about 3 or 4% open to God, and 96 or 97% coming from ego, not God, limited by scarcity, fear, lack thinking, living in fear and not believing in ourselves, not feeling like we mattered. In other words, we were blocking almost entirely the flow of life. We were not letting go and letting God. We were blocking God, except about 3 or 4%. But after Fraud 1.0, after the attempted totalitarian takeover of the human race of planet Earth by the globalists, the people coming from 100% not God, the likes of Bill Gates and George Soros and the communist regime that we had before President Trump came in, and the mass media, all of them coming from not God 100% and being evil 100%, and the school system that was indoctrinating children and working for the destruction of the family and the destruction of children. I mean, how is that? That's 100% evil, not God, not serving God at all, serving something other than God for sure. I mean, this whole trans thing was a complete manipulation, a complete fraud, a complete evil. And I hope you didn't fall into any of that. Well, that whole shot thing, the death jab, was 100% evil and manipulation and fraud and not God, 100% serving something other than God. And we must dismantle all of this everywhere it still remains, because you are here to be the light, to shine the light you are, because you are God's gift to the world. Anyway, after Fraud 1.0, I think humanity has regressed or digressed from probably three more accurately, or 4 if we're really generous, percent open to God and coming from ego, 96 to 97%. I think we've digressed from 3% down to 0.5%. In other words, 99.5% blocking God, working against God, fighting God, coming from fear mostly, and yet also lack and scarcity and evil, honestly. What do you think about that? Do you agree? Or is that even too generous to say we're at 0.5% coming from God and 99.5% coming from ego, from ignorance, from evil, from scarcity, from fear, from lack, thinking, and we're mostly blocking the flow of life of God, and we're just allowing a little trickle, except there are those of us, I mean, like Elon is, I would say, doing the work of God, and President Trump certainly believes in God and knows. I mean, after President Trump came within like a quarter of an inch of being assassinated, he had his spiritual awakening then, and he believes that he knows that his life was spared for a very important reason, because he is here, like every one of us is here, to be of greater service to more people. And he recognizes, I perceive him as recognizing that he is doing the work of God at the national level, and yet you are here to do the work of God at your level. And I don't want to limit the unlimited in any way. I don't want to limit that to being in your local area, because I mean, when I say maybe, you could just omit that from the sentence, and then it would be more accurate. You are here to be God's instrument for miracles in the world. You are here as God's gift to the world. You are God's gift to the world. There's no question about that. And I want you to recognize that fully and open 100% of the way to being that gift. So let's be real here. The average person, having previously limited God at the level of, we as a society and as our human family, I think we were at 0.5% open to God and 99.5% blocking God. You are here to blast that open by you being 100% open to God, and you being that person, like in high school. I was kind of that person myself. You probably were as well, who threw off the median average. Like, people were kind of like, oh, that kid who knows all the answers, he's the one who's making it harder for me. Well, you're that rising tide raising all boats. You are that person. By you being 100% open to God, receiving God first, breathing in before you can breathe out, breathing God into your life, allowing all the blessings that are destined to be yours, because God wants you, saying yes to life, opening fully, because that's how God is blessing the world through you. You are God's gift to the world. And you saying yes fully to God, that's allowing God to work through you to transform everyone on the planet. By you getting all of your friends saying yes to being God's gift that they are, your 1,200 people joining your Operation Greatness chapter and leading their own chapters through operationgreatness.com/leader, and your 1,200 getting their 1,200, getting their 1,200, and 1.72 billion people are transformed. And maybe you're only getting 10 people. If you only have 10 people, maybe you're getting 10 million people. Maybe you're getting 220 million people. If you're Elon Musk, or 1 billion people like everyone on Twitter doing this, as each of our greatest gifts to humanity. Maybe you're President Trump, and I think he has, like, I don't know, I think last I saw he had 105 million people following him on Twitter alone, and I don't know how many he has on Truth Social or Facebook. I think if Facebook was like 33 million or something, it was a lot. Maybe it was 60 million. I don't know. I think, yeah, maybe he had 150 million people between Facebook and Twitter that I saw. Maybe that was including Truth Social. I don't remember what that was. But maybe you're President Trump and you're leading your own chapter, and maybe this is the American chapter of Operation Greatness, the official American chapter, and this is like everyone in America is doing this through President Trump's chapter, and then from there, like, maybe you're in England and you're leading the English chapter of America, I mean of Operation Greatness, and maybe you're the Irish chapter, and maybe you're the Bengali chapter, and maybe you're the Argentinian chapter, the Brazilian chapter, the Somalian chapter, I mean, every one of us becoming the best versions of ourselves and not limiting God in any way, 100% open to God. This is happening by you doing this yourself, and by you saying yes and allowing God to work through you to bless and transform the lives of everyone on the planet. You see that, right? This is all through operationgreatness.com/leader. Let's go back to, okay, so you being 100% open to God, receiving God and extending God into the world, not blocking or limiting God in any way, not coming from ego or from scarcity or from fear or from lack in any way, because that's all of not God. That's the opposite of ignorance. What's the opposite of ignorance? Oh no, that is ignorance, 100% ignorance. That's the opposite of 100% wisdom, knowledge, truth, opening to God, and coming from love. That's your work. And your purpose is extending God, extending love, being of greater service to more people, coming from knowledge, wisdom, truth, 100%. 0% ego, 100% God, wisdom, knowledge, truth, love, versus 100% ignorance, like so many people today, like Bill Gates and George Soros and, all of these globalists, everybody who attempted to destroy humanity as part of the totalitarian takeover attempt. Anyway, we're moving past that. That's in the past. We're not going back there at all. We're not coming from ego. We're coming from God. We're not coming from scarcity. We're not promoting fear. We're not promoting ignorance. We're promoting wisdom, truth, love, reality, knowledge, the presence of God. We're saying yes to life. We're not blocking the infinite and unlimited in any way. We're not limiting ourselves or the gift we are to the world in any way, right? So because of you, we had digressed almost completely to 100% not God, evil, ignorance, ego, and yet we still had that glimmer of hope because that spark of divinity within every one of us, that still exists even in like Bill Gates and George Soros and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and all these people that were manipulated, the communists, the globalists, the anti-humanists, the transhumanists that want us to all be mindless robots. Anyway, they still have that spark of divinity within them. Otherwise, they would be dead because that spark of divinity is God. That's what all of us are meant to give 100% of our focus, our attention, our love to that spark of divinity. This is like the water heater, that spark that heats the water that is your life. Without that spark, you would not remain. You would be dead. As long as every one of us has that spark of divinity within us, that aspect of God within us, there's still hope. Because what do you do when you turn up the heat on the water heater? You turn up the fire of that spark, which is God, the presence of God within you. And when you turn it all the way up, that spark becomes a blazing inferno. And by you leading even one person here, I'm getting chills even under the sports coat that I'm wearing here. If you're watching this, you see that. I have my Operation Greatness t-shirt on. It's the pink is the color for today. And that's underneath my sports coat that I'm wearing here for this video that you're getting the videos when you're part of our Operation Greatness chapter leader meetings through operationgreatness.com/leader. And anyway, I mean, as long as, like, even in the worst of these people, like the Bill Gates and George Soros of the world, the Hillary Clintons of the world, the worst of the worst, the most embodied evil on the planet, coming from 100% ego, not God, not just ignorant, but actively evil, like these people are. We know who they are, the Faucis of the world, I mean, we can name the names. But even them, they still have that spark of divinity because they still live and breathe of God. They still have that spark of God within them. And we are turning up the heat. We're saying yes to life. We're no longer limiting the unlimited, no longer blocking the currency of life. All of that is removed. We're open as the hollow flute, the shakuhachi flute. You are God's instrument for miracles. You are God's gift to the world. So allow that gift, allow God to flow through your life 100%, not limiting the unlimited in any way. And you are that rising tide, raising all ships. And because humanity had digressed so far to 0.5%, open to God and coming 99.5% from ego, from ignorance, from not God, from scarcity, fear, lack consciousness, now all of that is blown through and you're so much open to God now. And we saw that. So where are you right now on the spectrum? We saw that, and you're turning up the heat on that water heater that you are. You're giving life to that spark of divinity within you. You're opening so much more fully. You're shining your light as brightly as the sun. You're open so much more. Like, where are you now? Are you at, like before, if you were 2 to 5%, like the average person, open to God, or using 2 to 5% of your brain, and then Einstein at 7 to 8%? Now I think you're past that. Would you say that you're 10% open to God? And Einstein just 7 to 8%. He moved mountains and transformed the world. So my intuitive knowing is that we only need to be like 10% open to God to move mountains and transform the world. Every one of us has the ability, the power, the gift of being that 10% open to God, and we're moving mountains and transforming the world. And right here, you are moving mountains and transforming the world by leading, inspiring, transforming, and liberating all of your online friends through this Operation Greatness chapter meeting. So they're going to operationgreatness.com/leader, and they're leading their own chapters through your chapter. And that's by far the best thing every one of us has ever done, and our greatest contributions we've ever made to the world, and the greatest contributions we have ever received from anyone else, like the person who led you into this Operation Greatness chapter meeting, contributed more meaningfully than anyone else ever has in your whole life, because they gave you the power of financial freedom. They gave you the power to connect and open 100% to God, to being God's instrument for miracles in the world, because you are God's gift to the world. So if we were at 0.5% open to God and 99.5% coming from ego, now I think we're back to like 5% open to God, just because of how much more open to God you are, as that spark of divinity, that inferno that you are reigniting within every one of us, like all of your online friends. You're reigniting that power that they have to lead, inspire, transform, and liberate every one of their online friends, for them to light or reignite that fire within each of them. Like my book, Reignited America, now you are reignited with the power, the passion, the purpose. Your divine design, duty, destiny, dharma has been reignited. This is the Holy Spirit working through you, or the presence of God reigniting you. That fire, that spark of divinity is now that inferno engulfing you, and you are from this place. You are, it only the power of one person with an inspired vision to transform the world. This is you exemplifying that, embodying that, and you're lighting and inspiring and leading and transforming and liberating all of your online friends by walking them through this chapter meeting, and they're joining your chapter and leading their own. And this is by far the best thing every one of us has ever done. And see how high you are now, how much more open you are to God, saying yes to life, to the infinite abundance flowing through you to bless the world. You're no longer holding back or limiting yourself in any way. The amount of good you are able to do is beyond measure. Your power is beyond measure, because you are how God is expressing in the world. And God is the infinite and unlimited, so that makes you infinite and unlimited by saying yes, by being that hollow flute. There's no limit to the amount of good you are doing in the world, for the world, right? Acknowledge that. Are you now 100% open to God working through you, blessing your life, and through you, blessing the world? You're not coming from scarcity. You're not coming from fear. You're not worried about what other people might think of you, because this is God, and this is so present for you. You're feeling this so intensely now, so warmly now. This fire within you is turned up so high right now. You're feeling the heat, the warmth, the presence, and this. Be with this, breathe in this. Sit with this, feel this, know this, because this is the fire in every one of us, and you're here to fulfill your destiny, and there's no limit to how much good you are here to do. This is the higher purpose of your life, and in fact, this is the reason you are here on the planet during this most historic, auspicious time. This is because of you, the greatest turning point in human history. And this is happening because of you turning your life around by opening fully to the presence of God within you now, 100% open to the presence of God. to receiving God fully and to extending God fully into the world by you just saying yes. This is why you are on the planet. This is the higher purpose of you being here, embodied in this body. This is the higher purpose of social media. It's why every one of us is here now. So be it. You are God's gift to the world. So the title of our chapter meeting, we didn't even talk about that yet. So let's connect the dots here. Jesus's direct challenge to you as you are God's gift to the world. So the context here, and this is the last thing where we will leave this, and then you are going out and leading every one of your online friends through this, if you haven't already begun that, through your chapter at operationgreatness.com/leader. The context for this is my pastor, his name is Michael Meerdad. He gave me this maybe about a year and a half ago. I don't remember when it was. First, when I heard this, maybe it was 2 years ago now, it really stood me in my tracks. I had to just stop and really hear this because this phrase was so transformational for me. It really grabbed me and shook me and saw that I was limiting God so much. His words were the words of Jesus, the challenge of Jesus for you right here. He said that Jesus said that all these things I have done, you will do yourself. And then he added that Jesus added, and so much more. Hear these words. Jesus said, all these things that I have done, you will do yourself, and so much more. Jesus is the example that we can all relate to for what it means, what it looks like, what it is to be 100% open to God. Jesus is the example of what that is. And you know what Jesus did? Jesus parted the Red Sea. Jesus raised the dead. Jesus made water into wine. Jesus took, was it 1 loaf of bread or 3? I forgot exactly. And he broke it into loaves of bread that could feed thousands of people. Jesus commanded life, right? I mean, he didn't say, Lazarus, would you please get up? You're not dead anymore. You're still alive. He just said, Lazarus, rise. And he didn't have, there was zero, I'm getting chills here right now. Are you feeling this as well? There was zero fear. There was zero doubt. There was zero scarcity or lack or ego. Jesus said to the sea, move, and the sea parted. This is what, I'm getting chills again here. I can feel this. Are you feeling this as well? Jesus was what 100% open to God is. That's your example of where you are going. Jesus challenged you to do all these things that he did. And then what did he add? And so much more. That is your challenge, to live the life 100% receiving God, 100% extending God, allowing God to bless the world through your life, through the hollow flute, the shakuhachi flute you are. You are God's instrument for miracles. You are how God is blessing the world. How can God bless the world other than through you? You are God's instrument to create miracles in the world. You are God's gift to the world. So be it. That is Jesus's direct challenge to you. All these things I have done, he didn't say you can do. What did he say? He said you will do. All these things I have done, you will do yourself. And then he added that little extra challenge at the end. What did he say? And so much more. All of these things that I have done, you will do yourself, and so much more. That's Jesus's direct challenge to you. This is how you are destined to be. This is how you are now living your life. You are God's gift to the world. So be it. Share your thoughts about all of this. Go back to the beginning if you haven't done that. Post every insight that I am asking you to contemplate, to recognize, to embody, relate it to your life. Post about that through your Operation Greatness chapter link. Include your link in each of these posts. I mean, we've gone like 141 minutes now, so that's easily 150 posts you can make from this Operation Greatness chapter meeting, all of which you are doing to lead every one of your online friends through joining your Operation Greatness chapter and to leading their own as they are stepping up and being the inspired visionary leader of every one of their online friends, just as you are right here, allowing God to receive God yourself at the level of 100% and to extend God, extending love, being of greater service to more people through everyone connected with you. You're leading, inspiring, transforming, and liberating everyone connected with you, all your online friends. We didn't even talk about everyone in your local area. You're invited to do that as well, and I'll give you the process to use to do that. I'll share that with you. So you're transforming the lives of every one of your online friends by walking them through this chapter meeting, by posting your thoughts about each of the points that we're talking about here, and you're taking all of your posts and you're adding them into the essay that you're sending me from this Operation Greatness chapter through operationgreatness.com/leader. You're transforming all of your online friends, even if you're Elon Musk, even if you're President Trump, transforming all of America and all of the world, all of Twitter, all of X, all of everyone else is transforming every one of their online friends, and you're the one who inspired this, who started this. When you have the ability to do something, you know you have that right here to transform the whole world, to transform the lives of 1.72 billion people, specifically just by leading your 1,200 people to join your chapter and them leading their 1,200 people to join their chapters, and then those 1,440,000 people leading their 1,200, and you have transformed the lives of 1.72 billion people. All these things that I have done, you will do yourself. He didn't say you can do, he said you will do yourself, and so much more. This is the gift of you. You're God's gift to the world, so be it. You're God's instrument for miracles, so allow God to work fully in your life to bless the world. We're doing this together through operationgreatness.com/leader. Any questions about any of this? So take all the posts that you're making, all 150 plus posts here, and put them into the essay that you're sending me, and send that directly to me at dan@danclatt.com, and then post that in our chapter leader private wealth alliance. That's through operationgreatness.com/leader, because you sharing your 150 plus posts and then all of us sharing our 150 plus posts, then you can use the posts that every one of us are making and that will just be another way that you are further serving all of your online friends, getting them to step up as the inspired visionary leader of all of their online friends as well. How do you feel now? How much more are you feeling that spark of divinity that is now the raging, blazing inferno? Because, Jesus said, what? I am the life, the light, the truth. I am the life, the truth, the way. And yet he also said, I believe Jesus said, you are the light of the world. And he was talking about you. I mean, he might have said he is the light of the world, and yet he is just referring to himself as what you are when you are 100% open to receiving God and extending God in the world fearlessly, because fear is of ego, of not God. And you're letting all of that go now. You've let that all go now, and you're not limiting the unlimited in any way, because that would just be ego to limit God when God is seeking full expression through your life. And there's no limit to how much good you are doing in the world. Doing, not can do. You are doing it. All these things I have done, you will do yourself. Now, notice that's not even a challenge. That's an admonition. You will do yourself. That's Jesus speaking directly to you right here, saying, all these things I have done, you will do yourself. And so much more. No question about that. This is your destiny. You are God's gift to the world. Thank you for being that. Send me your essay on all of this, dan@danclatt.com. Don't hold back anymore. That's all of ego, and that's no longer part of you because you are 100% receiving and open to and extending God now. Thank you very much. OperationGreatness.com/leader is how you are the inspired visionary leader the world has awaited. You are now it. You are God's gift. Thank you very much for being that fully now.